Commissioners, next item is item B, agenda approval.
I'd like to make a motion that we add the appointment for the Library Board of Trustees to the agenda.
Second.
Yeah. Commissioner, I have a motion and a second to add the Library Board of Trustees to the agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed, likewise, it's added. Right now, I'll look for a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Thank you, Commissioner. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed, likewise. Okay, thank you. Commissioners, check real quick. We can make that item G on the agenda if you don't mind. Just add it. So. All right. Catch up. Commissioners, we're now at 4204. It's a public hearing for road naming, addressing, and display ordinance. At this time, I'd like to open the public hearing. And Katie, Darty, you're here to make the presentation. Please proceed.
Good evening, Commissioners. Before you is a public hearing request for updates to the county's street name, addressing, and display ordinance. It was originally adopted in April of 1991 and has not had any revisions since that date. This request is mainly due to statute changes, North Carolina building code changes, and the adoption of a mobile home park and RV park ordinance with the planning department. All those have happened after the date that the original addressing ordinance was passed. The primary goal that we were trying to accomplish is consistency. We want to standardize the definitions, the terminology, and the specifications between the statutes, the building codes, and the planning ordinances. We also want to clarify certain processes that were not defined in the original ordinance. Have anything?
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board this time?
How does this impact some of the roads that we have now? Is there an example of what will change?
There's really not any changes per se in the day-to-day workings of the addressing department. It's just making the verbiage in that old 1991 ordinance match what is currently being used in the statute in the building code and in the mobile home and RV park ordinances. There was a statute change several years ago that really affected a lot of the planning and addressing processes, but as far as what we do day to day, there's really not. It's more just clarifying and making it match other things that the county has.
For future names of addresses, or will it affect any existing addresses?
The only thing that affects existing addresses is when something happens that triggers it, that makes it no longer meet the ordinance requirements. Several years, I think it was like a year or two ago, the new bypass split some roads inside the town. When something like that happens, then we have to deal with it and bring it up to the ordinance requirements.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, there is one notable issue with the current address ordinance. There's no provision in here for the reassignment of street numbers, furthering Ms. Doherty's point. We actually don't have a process to reassign street numbers. And so in the event that does come up as an issue, for instance, the 221 bypass switches the direction of a road for emergency response purposes, where the street numbers will need to be changed to remain consistent for our EMS and law enforcement, then we're actually required by the new statute she's referring to, 153A239.1, we have to create a policy, and that policy has to have been done after a public hearing such as this. So that's another example. That's one example of the reason for a new ordinance, is to be able to provide. That's one thing we're able to lump in, is now we'll have a street reassignment policy that's embedded in this that will meet code. a second possibility that I thought of actually, because they've been disconnected from, for instance, some of these new state building code changes. This is intended to tie a lot of, for instance, address number requirements to the state building code. So we don't have what can happen and has happened, inadvertently create a separate local standard that is not the same as the state building code, kind of creating another layer. This gets it tied into the state code and removes that unintentional local layer.
Any other comments from the board? Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing regarding this matter of the road naming, addressing, and display ordinance. Is there a member of the public who'd like to speak regarding the road naming, addressing, and display ordinance? We're at a public hearing regarding the road naming, addressing, and display ordinance. Would anybody like to speak regarding that matter? And again, many of you know our attorney requires us to say this 3 times, so this is the 3rd time. So a member of the public would like to speak regarding this public hearing. We'll close the public hearing. Commissioner, there's no action required this evening on this. This just, this portion is complete. Commissioners, next item on the agenda is public comments. We did have someone sign up for public comments tonight. Jennifer McBriar, you have 3 minutes. Come on up. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, gentlemen. I'm Jennifer McBriar, principal of Chase Middle School. Before I begin, I want to express some thanks. Thank you for supporting school resource officers in all of our schools and for increased teacher supplements. Mr. Haynes, thank you for your consistent support of our students and our schools. Mr. Benfield, thank you for attending the June 26th public hearing. I appreciated that you stayed and listened to everyone who spoke. And Mr. Hulk, thank you for meeting with me. While we didn't agree on every aspect of school funding, we do share a commitment to growing Rutherford County's economy. With that in mind, I want to raise a few concerns, not to criticize, but to begin a conversation about how the budget process might better reflect our community needs in future cycles. We've had to close 2 schools, Mount Vernon Ruth and The Rock. The Rock provided specialized services that required additional resources we could no longer support financially. These were difficult but necessary decisions under the tight funding conditions shaped in part by your budget choices. Still, RCS is working to offer programs like CTE, Omega Bytes Robotics, JAG, and STEM instruction in the lower grades, which gives students real career experience along with core academics. Programs like these are essential to workforce development and directly support what I hope are your long-term economic goals for the county. Sadly, it is unclear whether JAG can continue now that the Rock has closed. This brings me to a central question. Why must we choose between protecting taxpayers or supporting our children? That is simply a false choice, as we should be doing both. As school leader and taxpayer, I understand both issues. I want fair taxes, but I've also spent my career serving children, and I'm asking you to make education a priority in future cycles without neglecting other essential services. This is not about trade-offs. It's about growing a local economy where everyone can thrive. I know your responsibilities are broad, but we can't keep pointing to the past when trying to build a better future for our kids. We must look ahead of us. Yes, declining enrollment matters, but a high percentage of students who left RCS moved out of the county entirely rather than seeking other school options. That is a bigger problem beyond our school system. Investing in strong school programs in the future could help bring families back instead of watching them leave. If we want a strong economy, we must invest wisely in education. As I told Mr. Benfield at the hearing, I know I've been tough on you, but I can assure you that I challenge myself, my staff, and my students every day, and I will continue challenging you for the sake of our community. That said, if you're open to solutions that support students and strengthen our entire community, I'm ready to work with you now and in the future. That's what educators do, no matter the obstacles. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Those are all the public comments for this evening. Commissioners, next item is consent agenda. Is there an item you'd like to add or remove from the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
I got a motion second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed likewise? Carries. Thank you. Commissioners,